Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. Coming up in the next hour. AI Impact Summit kicks off in New Delhi. Prime Minister Modi underscores India's leadership in global AI transformation. Prime Minister Modi to host French President Macron for talks in Mumbai on Tuesday. UK announces plans for a social media ban for children under 16. And US President Trump sets a 30-day deadline for Iran deal ahead of resumption of talks in Geneva. Prime Minister Narendra Modi welcomed global leaders, industry captains, innovators and policymakers to the AI Impact Summit in New Delhi. Inaugurating the India AI Impact Expo in the city, he highlighted the transformative role of artificial intelligence. The expo is expected to see nearly 300,000 visitors, including foreign delegates. DD India's Rabindra Chauhan reports.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated the India AI Impact Expo 2026 on Monday at Bharat Mandapam in New Delhi. The India AI Impact Summit, along with the expo, began on Monday and will continue till February 20th, Friday. The theme of the summit is Sarvajana Hitaye, Sarvajana Sukhaye, welfare for all, happiness for all, reflecting inclusive growth and collective well-being through artificial intelligence. The expo serves as a national demonstration of AI in action, where policy meets practice, innovation meets scale, and technology connects with citizens on a daily basis. Prime Minister Modi took a tour of the exhibition and interacted with representatives from various AI firms and startups. Executives showcased their latest AI models, innovations, and intended services. Prime Minister Modi carefully listened to the presentations while visiting curated exhibition pavilions and live demonstrations structured across three foundation pillars or sutras: people, planet, and progress. Spread across 10 arenas covering more than 70,000 square meters, the expo brings together global technology companies, startups, academia, research institutions, union ministries, state governments, and international partners. The expo also features 13 country pavilions, highlighting international collaboration in the AI ecosystem. Participating countries include Australia, Japan, Russia, United Kingdom, France, Germany, Italy, Netherlands, Switzerland, Serbia, Estonia, Tajikistan, and African nations. Following its inauguration, the summit will be open to the general public from Tuesday. The India AI Impact Expo 2026 is expected to witness participation from over 250,000 visitors, including international delegates. The event aims to foster new partnerships and create business opportunities within the global AI ecosystem. Over the course of the event, the expo will host more than 300 curated exhibition pavilions and live demonstrations. In addition, over 600 high potential startups, many building globally relevant population scale solutions, are to showcase working technologies already developed in real world settings. Bureau Report, DD India.
Now, the AI Impact Summit is highlighting how targeted skilling is transforming AI's impact on work. Next, take a look at how India's Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship is showcasing a dedicated pavilion focused on a comprehensive framework.
The India AI Impact Summit in Delhi is highlighting how targeted skilling is transforming AI's impact on work for the global south, 2 billion informal workers, driving opportunity and social mobility. Voice-based AI tools and digital portfolios are giving workers multilingual access and verifiable skills, enabling platforms, gigs with ratings and proximity matching. Sessions like Future of Works in the Global South are stressing harmonizing job classification for cross-border mobility in regions like Africa and South Asia.
Really short, modular, mobile first programs in local languages that teach workers how to use AI tools safely and productively in their existing sectors, right? So this is portable, stackable credentials that any worker can take with them, not the employer, and because we recognize that labor mobility is high. But we also
India's MSDE pillars, skilling in AI with AI and for AI, are modeling inclusive upskilling for low AI readiness areas via SOAR non credentials and Skill India assistance. Global partnerships are training millions in AI literacy, prioritizing women, youth, and informal sectors to counter brain drain. Generative AI is lifting productivity 14-15% for low skilled roles, from farmers to artisans, via localized alerts and forecasting, potentially adding trillions to economies by 2030. With data sovereignty and equitable governance, the Global South is leveraging summit's blueprints like India's UAI and open source models for inclusive AI driven growth. Bureau Report DD India.
And DD India's Deepika has more on a thematic session on operationalizing open source AI pathway to sovereignty, which was held on Monday at the summit.
The India AI Impact Summit 2026 kick-started on 16 February at New Delhi's Bharat Mandapam. This is the first global AI summit which is being hosted in the Global South. As a 5-day program, the summit covers policy, research, industry, and public engagement. With multiple sessions being held across 5 days of the summit, industry leaders are exchanging thoughts and encouraging young minds. On the sidelines of this, operationalizing open source AI pathway to sovereignty was one of the sessions in which global industry leaders, including Cohere, Nvidia, Mozilla, participated. Speaking during the session, Joel Pinau, Chief AI Officer of Cohere, said that having regulation is important for all the states and countries. Mozilla's president Mark Surman added to the discussion, saying that technology can deliver to the country when it's taken proper care of. The India AI Impact Summit is one of its kind summit across the global south that ensures not only regulation but the democratization of AI.
The India AI Impact Summit 2026 kicks off in great style at New Delhi's Bharat Mandapam. It is witnessing the participation of global technology-related industry leaders, right from Nvidia to Mozilla to Google. Everyone is coming here to New Delhi to participate in this one-of-a-kind event, which is taking place for the first time in the Global South. Today, we witnessed one of the sessions that discussed the regulation of AI and the democratization of it as well. We'll keep bringing you all the latest from Ground Zero. Keep watching DD India for following the latest on the India AI Impact Summit. With camera person Sumit Nadial, this is Deepika reporting for DD India from Bharat Mandapam, New Delhi.
India is taking another step towards self-reliance in AI. Bharat Gen, the country's premier sovereign AI initiative, has announced the launch of Param 217B, a 17 billion parameter multilingual model supporting 22 Indian languages. Built from the ground up on Indian data, the mixture of experts foundational model marks a major milestone in India's first AI innovation. DD India's Tapas Bhattacharya spoke exclusively to Bharat Gen's CEO, Rishi Bal. Take a listen.
The AI summit has started at Bharat Mandapam and all eyes will be on India as the country takes leapfrog in when it comes to AI technology. This is the Bharat Gen's pavilion, and I have with me the CEO of Bharat Gen, Mr. Rishi Bal. Sir, you guys are launching the Param 2. What exactly it is?
Param 2 is a large 17 billion model that works in all 22 Indian languages. It does math, it does code, it does reasoning. It's a remarkably capable model, and it's a mixture of experts one, which means that it's kind of cheap to actually run for inference time.
You guys are talking about languages. That's something that a lot of people are talking about in a country which has a lot of diversity. How you guys are going to work on that?
Right, so the joke is often that if you drive from Delhi to Patna, the Hindi changes every 50 kilometers.
Right.
And so part of what we're doing is we have people on the ground actually collecting data. So working with local publishers, radio stations, and people who are volunteering data so that Bharat Gen's knowledge actually comes from Bharat.
You're working on health tech, fintech. Yeah, it's a huge thing going on under India AI mission. How is this being, this could be dubbed as one of the greatest technological, leapfrog.
Absolutely. This is our big opportunity in Bharat to be able to leapfrog using AI. So we can leapfrog in governance, in finance, and every single domain.
What about the fintech? What about the health tech? What you guys are doing there?
So just take an example of health tech, right? The ability to bring high quality medicine to patients in their villages so that they don't have to travel. So they can just speak into a phone, be able to access an AI that can advise them for minor conditions and then connect directly to a doctor after that initial consultation has done, will significantly accelerate healthcare access.
Much appreciate your time. So that was the CEO of Bharat Gen. They're going to launch the Param 2, the AI language model for not just for the country, but for the world. With camera person Yogesh, this is Apush Bhattacharya for DD India from Bharat Mandapam, Delhi.
Still to come on DD India News Hour. Moscow rejects European accusations it poisoned Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny using a toxin.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the economic brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. President Emmanuel Macron of France is among 20 world leaders attending the AI Impact Summit in New Delhi. Now, during his three-day visit to India, the French leader would hold talks with Prime Minister Modi in Mumbai on Tuesday and inaugurate the India-France Year of Innovation. DD India's Akhilesh Suman reports. On 17th February, India and France will enter a new phase of cooperation in innovation. In Mumbai, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and French President Emmanuel Macron will jointly announce the launch of the India-France Year of Innovation 2026. During Prime Minister Modi's visit to France last year, both countries announced the Horizon 2047 roadmap. The India-France Year of Innovation 2026 will be part of that vision. Throughout the year, programs will be organized to promote innovation in defense, space, civil, nuclear energy, climate, digital technology, and emerging sectors. The initiative is expected to generate awareness and inspiration, especially among youth. The India-France Innovation Forum will be held in Mumbai on 17th February. Apart from Prime Minister Modi and President Macron, the forum will bring together business leaders, startup representatives, researchers, and policymakers from both countries. To take the India-France Year of Innovation 2026 to the public, a special cultural program will also be organized at the historic Gateway of India in Mumbai on the 17th. The Year of Innovation particularly will focus on startup collaboration, joint research, higher education partnerships, artificial intelligence, green technologies, and next generation digital technologies. At a time when the global order faces multiple challenges, this collaboration between India and France will signal positive and constructive engagement on the world stage.
This is the time of innovation, and India cannot miss this chance. That is why India-France Innovation Year 2026 is very important, because if India has to become a developed nation by 2047, innovation is very important. Akhilesh Suman for DD India with camera person Ashish Sharma in Mumbai, Lok Bhavan.
And Akhilesh Suman now joins us from Mumbai for more. Akhilesh, what's on the agenda of the talks? Talk to us about the optics and outcomes from President Macron's visit to Mumbai.
Ramesh, as you know that, the chemistry between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and French President Emmanuel Macron has no comparison. There are no enough words that can describe the relationship between India and France, because in the recent years, in journalistic parlance, France has emerged as a second Russia, because one of the most important technologies like Rafale and other defense technologies has been provided by France to India. And in that background, when French President Emmanuel Macron is coming to Mumbai tomorrow for a summit-level meeting with Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and after the summit-level meeting, they will also announce the India-France Innovation Year 2026. So I think that after it is a time when innovation is becoming key, and India being the largest population in the world, and that Indian talent in software technology has been, has been no comparison in the world. Indians have gone everywhere in the world and have proved that they have talent. And in this situation, if innovation is becoming one of the major components after discovery and invention, I think it is very important time. And even the optics, you can see on the placards everywhere on the roads, you can see that French President Macron and Prime Minister Narendra Modi pictures are pasted everywhere in Mumbai. And, the government is prepared in a way that the financial capital of India, Mumbai, should be in the eyes of everyone in the world when French President is coming here. And you know that France is the most important country in European Union, given the fact that it is a P5 member from European Union. So in that situation, I think that the optics is going to be very, very, I think, important. And also when they will gather on near the Taj Palace Hotel and also near the Gateway of India tomorrow, and they will also, participate in meeting with CEOs,
right,
startups, people, and also it will be India-France Innovation Forum meeting. So in that situation,
right,
I think that India-France will showcase their relationship in the new technology and innovation, Ramesh.
And very quickly, before we let you go, Akhilesh, the French leader will travel onward to New Delhi, where he will take part in the AI Impact Summit. Tell us more.
I think India is hosting the AI Summit at a time when the whole world is seeing towards AI, that what will AI do in the world. While India has a very, solid stand that AI should not replace the present human resources. Rather, it should use the present human resources as, as an asset. So in that context, AI Summit is being held in, in India, the first country in the global south that is holding this type of summit in which more than 100 countries are participating. So I think that will be very important that Prime Minister Narendra Modi and French President Emmanuel Macron will both be together in the AI Summit. And if you remember that when the International Solar Alliance was formed in Paris, both leaders were on the stage and they formed International Solar Alliance. And now more than 116 countries have joined International Solar Alliance. So I think India-France cooperation in the AI summit will also, showcase that how
Indeed.
developed countries can cooperate with most, fastest growing major economy in the world. And I think that is going to give a very broad message, very important message to the world that is in conflict in the Middle East, in conflict in Russia-Ukraine area, that you can have cooperation also in the world when the whole order is, challenged by many forces around. So I think this is going to give very important message to the world, and also it is going to give a very important message to every parties who are trying to develop the global south, who are thinking to develop themselves who are facing challenge from the forces like American unilateralism nowadays.
Akhilesh, thank you. Akhilesh Suman reporting there from Mumbai. Right, in some more India-France related news, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh will co-chair the 6th India-France Annual Defence Dialogue with his French counterpart Catherine Vautrin in Bengaluru on Tuesday. The meeting will review the entire gamut of bilateral defence cooperation with a focus on expanding industrial collaboration. A defence cooperation agreement is expected to be renewed for another 10 years, along with an MOU on a joint venture for manufacturing the Hammer missile, which is likely to be signed in the presence of both ministers. An announcement is also expected with respect to reciprocal deployment of officers at the Indian Army and French land forces establishments. The two ministers are also expected to witness the virtual inauguration of the H-125 light utility helicopter final assembly of Tata Airbus by Prime Minister Modi and French President Macron at Vemagal in Karnataka. Now, Britain may follow Australia in restricting teen social media access. Prime Minister Keir Starmer has called for tighter rules and AI accountability after concerns over Grok, owned by US billionaire Elon Musk. Meanwhile, platforms such as YouTube and Meta also face legal scrutiny. DD India's Mohammad Absarul Hassan reports.
After Australia, Britain is now looking to limit teenagers' access to social media. The government is considering stricter rules for children under 16. The move comes amid growing concerns about digital addiction, cyberbullying, and the impact of online content on mental health. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer said AI chatbot must also be held accountable. He referred to a recent case involving Grok, owned by Elon Musk. The chatbot was found to have generated non-consensual sexual content.
We also need to do with AI bots. This is something relatively new, and we saw with Grok. Did you see the thing with Grok just the other week? An AI bot that allowed you to instruct it to undress people. And it did. It was disgusting. Absolutely disgusting.
The Prime Minister said he wants broader power to regulate internet access. He said stronger laws are needed to protect children from fast-changing digital risks.
One of the difficulties here is that the technology moves on so quickly that the legislation struggles to keep up, which is why for AI bots, for example, and chatbots, we need to take the necessary measures.
Britain is consulting on an Australian-style social media ban for children. Australia has already banned social media for those under 16, with heavy fines for companies that break the rules. France, Spain, Greece, Denmark and Norway are also considering similar restrictions. The European Parliament has called for minimum age rules across the European Union. In Asia, Malaysia is debating a social media ban for under 16 under its Online Safety Act. In India, the issue is also gaining attention. The latest economic survey warned that digital addiction among children and adults can harm cognitive and social development. Meanwhile, a landmark trial has begun in California against Google's YouTube and Meta platform, the parent company of Instagram. The case claims the companies intentionally designed their platform to make children addiction to the net. Many students check social media while studying, which leads to procrastinations and low academic performance. As cases of online harm continue to rise, more countries now believe the risk of social media can no longer be ignored. Mohammad Absarul Hassan reports for DT India.
The Kremlin said on Monday that it rejected an assessment by 5 European countries that Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny died from poisoning 2 years ago as his supporters marked the anniversary of his death in prison. Britain, Sweden, France, Germany and the Netherlands issued a joint statement on Saturday saying that they believed he had been poisoned with a toxin called epibetidine. Navalny died in an Arctic prison colony in February 2024. Russian authorities designated Navalny and his organization as extremists before his death, and anyone who mentions him or his exiled anti-corruption foundation are liable for prosecution. The trilateral talks among Russia, Ukraine and the US are due to take place in Geneva on Tuesday and Wednesday. The Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov said that discussions will focus on the main issues, including territories and other demands put forward by Moscow. The Russian delegation will be led by presidential aide Vladimir Medinsky, with military intelligence chief Igor Kostikov also participating. Meanwhile, President Putin's special envoy Kirill Dmitriev will join a separate working group focusing on economic issues. The return of Medinsky, who led the Russian team at earlier talks in Turkey in 2022 and again last year, could signal that Russia expects the focus to move beyond security issues to broader points of disagreement between the two sides. Meanwhile, Russia's defense ministry said that claims that its troops have taken the village of Switskov in Ukraine's southeastern Zaporizhia region. Now, Russia controls about 75% of the Zaporizhia region. Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi met with the chief of the United Nations nuclear watchdog, the IAEA, on Monday, ahead of US-Iran talks to tackle their dispute over Iran's nuclear program. The two sides held indirect talks earlier this month in Oman. While Washington, D.C. has sought to expand the scope of talks to non-nuclear issues such as Iran's missile stockpile, Tehran says it is only willing to discuss curbs on its nuclear program in exchange for sanctions relief and won't accept zero uranium enrichment. U.S. President Trump has set a 30-day deadline for Iran, even as U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has said that it will be hard to make a deal with Iran.
With Iran is not easy. I said it yesterday, I'll repeat it again today. I mean, we have to understand that Iran ultimately is governed, and its decisions are governed by Shia clerics, radical Shia clerics, okay? These people make policy decisions on the basis of pure theology. That's how they make their decisions. So it's hard to do a deal with Iran. We've always said it's hard, but we're going to try. That's what the president is trying. We're hopeful there's a deal. The president always prefers peaceful outcomes and negotiated outcomes to things.
U.S. President Trump said that the Board of Peace members will announce a pledge of more than $5 billion for reconstruction and humanitarian efforts in Gaza at its meeting on Thursday. In a post on Truth Social on Sunday, President Trump wrote that member states have committed thousands of personnel towards a UN-authorized stabilization force and local police in the Palestinian exclave. The U.S. leader said that the first official meeting of the group will take place at the Donald J. Trump Institute of Peace. Delegations from more than 20 countries are expected to attend it. The board's creation was endorsed by UN Security Council resolution as part of the Trump government's plan to end the conflict between Israel and Hamas in Gaza. The European Union has said that it will take part in this week's inaugural meeting of the Board of Peace, but not as a member. The European Commissioner for the Mediterranean, Dubravka Šuica, will head to Washington, D.C. to represent the EU at the meeting on Thursday. Still to come on DD India News Hour. An expert take on the AI Impact Summit, which kicks off in New Delhi.
Can the launch a bombing campaign against Iran. The Philippines vessel suffered structural damage. The saga of child sexual abuse is the United States China's debt trap strategy. Truth is stranger than fiction. But sometimes hard to uncover. Trust us to tell the truth, unadulterated and pure, of every story that matters to you.
That's exactly what to save your.
You read between the lines, cut the clutter, and connect the dots to get you the full picture. Watch Connecting the Dots at these times with me, only on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. As artificial intelligence reshapes economies and societies worldwide, New Delhi is hosting a landmark global gathering. The AI Impact Summit 2026 kicked off on Monday and will continue till the 20th of February, marking the first ever global AI summit in the Global South. Guided by the theme of Sarvajana Hitaya, Sarvajana Sukhaya, which means welfare for all, happiness for all, the summit brings together 20 world leaders and delegations from over 45 countries to shape a human-centric, inclusive AI future. Here's our special report.
As artificial intelligence begins to redefine economies, governance, science, and even the nature of human possibility, New Delhi becomes the epicenter of a historic global conversation. The India AI Impact Summit 2026 kicked off at Bharat Mandapam in the national capital on Monday and will run to the 20th of February, marking the first ever global AI summit hosted in the Global South. Guided by the timeless civilizational principle of Sarvajana Hitaya, Sarvajana Sukhaya, that is welfare for all, happiness for all, the summit seeks to ensure that the future of artificial intelligence is not just powerful but purposeful, not just innovative but inclusive. The summit is guided by three foundational pillars referred to as the three sutras. First is people, promoting human-centric AI that safeguards rights, enhances access to services, builds trust, and ensures equitable benefits across societies. Second is planet, advancing environmentally sustainable AI through energy-efficient systems, responsible resource use, and applications that strengthen climate action and resilience. And third is progress, enabling inclusive economic and technological advancement through innovation, capacity building, and AI-driven productivity and development outcomes. Deliberations at the summit are structured into 7 chakras, interconnected working groups designed to translate vision into action. From human capital focusing on equitable skilling and workforce transitions, to inclusion for social empowerment, ensuring AI systems are inclusive by design, to safe and trusted AI anchored in transparency and accountability. The chakras include science, accelerating frontier research, resilience, innovation and efficiency, strengthening climate sustainability, democratizing AI resources, expanding equitable access to foundational AI tools, and AI for economic development and social good, leveraging technology to drive inclusive growth. At the invitation of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, world leaders from 20 countries are scheduled to attend the summit in New Delhi. These include Prime Minister Tshering Tobgay of Bhutan, Vice President Edmund Lara Montano of Bolivia, President Luis Inácio Lula da Silva of Brazil, Prime Minister Andrej Plenković of Croatia, President Alar Karis of Estonia, Prime Minister Petteri Orpo of Finland, President Emmanuel Macron of France, Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis of Greece, Vice President Bharat Jagdeo of Guyana, Prime Minister Oljas Bektenov of Kazakhstan, Aloy, Hereditary Prince of Liechtenstein, Prime Minister Navin Chandra Ramgoolam of Mauritius, President Alexander Vučić of Serbia, President Peter Pellegrini of Slovakia, Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez of Spain, President Anurakumar Dissanayake of Sri Lanka, Vice President Sebastian Pillay of Seychelles, President Guy Parmelin of Switzerland, Prime Minister Dick Schoof of the Netherlands, and Crown Prince Khalid bin Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan of the United Arab Emirates. Ministerial delegations from over 45 countries will also be participating. UN Secretary General and senior officials from several international organizations are also expected to join the deliberations as well. The summit positions India as both convener and partner in shaping global AI cooperation, supporting shared standards, collaborative frameworks, and scalable solutions for public good. As the world stands at the edge of an AI-driven era, New Delhi may well define how intelligence serves humanity, responsibly, inclusively, and for the welfare of all. This is Roy's report, DD India.
And joining us is Ms. Debjani Ghosh. Ms. Ghosh is a distinguished fellow at Niti Aayog. Now, Niti Aayog is the premier public policy think tank of the Government of India. She is the chief architect of the Niti Aayog's Frontier Tech Hub, which is a specialized unit focused on advancing India's readiness in frontier technologies such as AI, quantum and biotech. She also leads strategic initiatives to connect government, industry and experts for national development. Ms. Ghosh, welcome to DD India News Hour. I have a couple of questions on the summit before we delve into frequently asked questions for the benefit of our viewers joining us from around the world. Now, first off, we are told that the AI Impact Summit is the first of its kind in the global south. How did that come about and what does the summit seek to achieve?
It is the first of its kind in Global South, and what a message it's sending out. I mean, I love the summary that you had, Ramesh, right up front. The kind of global participation that we are seeing, I think the message it's sending out is that AI is truly becoming inclusive and every voice needs to be heard. The other thing where India is a first is when the Global Summit started, it's the fourth one. The first one happened, as you know, in UK, which was on safety. Then you had Korea on innovation. Then you had Paris, which was all about action. This is the first time that we have brought impact as the key theme or focus of the summit. And I think that's a very, very powerful message that India is giving to the world. Because till now, the focus has all been about infrastructure. Who can build the largest infrastructure? Now, while infrastructure is very important, but unless and until you put that infrastructure to work, to transform lives, unless and until you create that impact, you're not going to get the returns on that infrastructure. So I think, that's the shift that this summit is bringing about. And it definitely is a very proud moment, I think, for all of us.
Indeed. Now, talking about India and its priorities, Ms. Ghosh, what can you tell us about the India AI mission and the Indian government's Viksit Bharat 2047 vision of technological self-reliance?
The India AI mission is a very, when I look at it and I see what's happening around the world, it's a very unique model, Ramesh. You don't see the government anywhere in the world actually working hand in hand with industry to say that we are going to democratize the most critical building blocks for AI: compute, data, skills, R&D, a use case, etc., right? And I think that is absolutely a fascinating thing that India is doing, because that is what moves us from this entire catching up phase to a leapfrog phase. Because here you have the government laying out the foundation or the highway, if you want to call it that, the digital highway for companies to build on to leapfrog in AI innovation and race. And I think it's already showing the results, what India has been able to do in such little time, thanks to the support that the mission has provided with respect to subsidized access to GPUs, to compute, etc., to our startups. It's such a proud moment today when Prime Minister inaugurated the expo to see the number of India Foundation models at display, right? That was a goosebump moment. That was such a big high for all of us to see our foundation models at display, and not just at display. The quality is just outstanding. If
Right.
you have played with Sarvam, it is world class. I mean, there is nothing about it that doesn't say best in world. So yeah, that's what India AI mission is driving.
And now, Ms. Ghosh, to a few questions that our viewers would like to learn more about. To begin with, one gets the impression that AI will revolutionize the way we live and work. So, for the benefit of viewers who might not be familiar with the intricacies of the issue at hand here, what would be some of the applications of AI in, say, governance or healthcare, education, finance, or for that matter, agriculture? And would all these applications prove beneficial for people, or will there be a catch?
See, the simple way to think about AI is intelligence at your fingertips. That's what AI does. Because the machines can learn much faster and much more than any human. It can learn pretty much everything we want it to learn. So it brings that knowledge to you real time, whenever you need it, wherever you need it. What we have to focus on is how do we use that knowledge?
Right.
What do we do with that intelligence, right? What kind and that's where human accountability becomes very important, because ultimately it is us humans that decide what do we want to do with that intelligence. Do we want to find cure for cancer, or do we want to use it to create the next atom bomb, right? That choice is ours, and we can't delegate that accountability to AI. But when you bring that intelligence, it can pretty much increase human productivity, creativity at every level. We say that this intelligence can reinvent workflows. The workflows can be how you learn. That's a workflow. A workflow can be how you, as a doctor, how you treat your patient. A workflow can be as a factory worker in a manufacturing outfit, how you run the factory assembly line or the factory line, right? Now, AI can completely re-engineer the workflows, every workflow, to increase productivity, to
Right.
increase efficiency, right? And that's the promise of AI: increased or augmented productivity, increased efficiency. It improves our ability to do tasks, right? And when you add it up, overall, you get a huge boost. So that's why they say that if deployed across sectors, AI has the ability in the next 10 years to deliver 17 trillion value to global GDP by the end of this decade.
Right.
And that value comes from unlocking productivity.
Absolutely. Ms. Ghosh, next I have a twofold question. Correct me if I'm wrong, but from the looks of it, AI would render some jobs obsolete and by extension some people redundant. Therefore, the question is, how does one AI-proof one's work and career, number one? And number two, will AI cause a relook at skilling? Would upskilling or reskilling be required?
Ramesh, every technology shift from the printing press to the steam engine has caused job displacements.
Fair enough.
Every single one, right? If you remember when computers first got launched, we were all scared. They will take away jobs, what's going to happen, etc. So this is normal with every shift. What is happening this time, what is different this time, is the pace of change.
Right.
The speed with which it's happening is something we have never experienced in our lives, in human lives, right? So that is what's different this time. And AI does not take away jobs. As I said, what AI does is it increases productivity or efficiency in tasks. Now, if you look at some of the jobs which are very routine, where you don't, for example, data entry or just answering the phone with call center kind of jobs, or low-end coding jobs, where we are already seeing around 20 to 30% productivity gain in these kind of jobs. And Niti has done a study on this, which we published a few months back. In the next 3 years, we see that efficiency go up to 50%.
Right.
And when it does, yes, you are going to see displacements in those kind of tasks. So yes, it will have an impact. There will be displacements of people. Now, what is needed, and what you rightly said, the skilling and how we skill people has to completely change, because if we add up the new jobs that AI is creating, for example, you didn't have data scientists, ethicists, data detectives. None of these jobs existed a few years back, right? So AI is also creating a lot of new jobs, and as you add
And
up these
opportunities,
jobs,
indeed. Yeah.
absolutely. And when you add up these jobs, we feel that the net is a positive employment factor, because you're going to have more jobs available than jobs that went away. But the difference is, Ramesh, the jobs that are going away are jobs that employed millions, at the lower end, low skills job that employed millions. And the jobs that are coming in are hyper specialized jobs. The numbers are going to be very large, but each job is not going to employ more than maybe 1,000 or 100,000 people. But when you add it up together, it can be 4 million jobs, right? But that challenges how we skill.
Right.
We have to learn how to skill for these fast changing, hyper specialized
Absolutely.
jobs.
And as we wrap it up, Ms. Ghosh, one quick question. As AI becomes popular, would certain rules of the road be required to be put in place? What I mean to ask is, are governments already working on regulation nationally and internationally? Like, would India also like to be a framer of laws governing AI as opposed to just being a user of AI?
But I don't think any of us have signed up to be just a user. And I don't think India AI mission is to ensure that India becomes a great market for AI mission, AI, right, adoption. India AI mission has been set up to ensure India becomes a leader, and that's what it's marching to. And yes, in order to be a leader, you have to be a rule setter. I mean, that goes hand in hand. As far as governance is concerned, I think every government is trying to figure out how to minimize the risks, how to minimize harm. In India, MITI just a few months ago came out with the framework, a governance framework for India that a few of us had the privilege to work on under the Principal Scientific Advisor's guidance. And I think it's a very fair, and it's received tremendous positive feedback from all over the world, because it was one of the first few frameworks that came out that actually managed to achieve a pretty decent balance between innovation and regulation, because we need to have that. So yes, every country is looking at it. My only advice is, it's still too early to hardwire regulation, because once you start coming out with laws, it's very difficult for government to change those. And AI is changing so fast. You need to give yourself the ability to continuously adapt as the technology changes, so that you can stay ahead of it.
Ms. Ghosh, pleasure as always to talk to you. Thank you for your time. Much appreciated.
Thank you, Ramesh.
Right, and some other news we are tracking here on DD India News are New Delhi has turned into a global hub for artificial intelligence. The 5-day AI Impact Summit has begun at Bharat Mandapam in New Delhi, bringing together policymakers, global AI leaders, diplomats, startups, students and industry voices all under one roof. Among the key sessions of the day one was the trustworthiness of AI involving balancing innovation and regulation. Here's a report.
Over the next 5 days, thousands of participants from India and across the world are expected to take part in discussions, demonstrations, and policy dialogues. The focus: how AI can power economic growth, public services, financial systems, and global cooperation. Among the key conversations on Monday was a session titled Trustworthy AI: Balancing Innovation and Regulation. Panelists examined the critical question: how do nations encourage AI innovation without compromising safety, accountability, and public trust?
Especially in the financial sector, it needs to protect the system as well. I mean, the entire financial system, the sector is based on this trust. You deposit your money in a bank account and you trust that money will be there by until and unless when you're going to take it out. What happens if you have an agent and you have no idea that that agent is probably debiting your account, depositing in a crypto wallet or something else, trading, and then the money comes back to you. It can be, it's the same amount at the end of the day. You feel that, okay, it's the same, but some activity happened with your money. At the end of the day, it's going to be accountable to you. So if AI has to be trustworthy, AI has to follow what you want AI to do.
The idea of data analysis is to give you a snapshot of where you are in terms of endowment of infrastructure, human capital, institutional setting, coherence thereof, legislation that exists, components that need to be at stake for AI to be able to actually serve societies, and for agents, public and private, to be able to use and leverage AI in a way that is really ethical.
The discussion focused on responsible AI frameworks, global standards, regulatory sandboxes, and the need for international cooperation, especially as AI systems increasingly influence finance, governance, and daily life. As AI systems grow more powerful, the balance between innovation and regulation is becoming central to global policy. Experts here argue that trust will determine AI's future, trust from citizens, from governments, and from markets. Without it, adoption slows. With it, AI could unlock enormous economic and social potential. From high level policy debates to startup showcases, the AI Impact Summit aims to define not just how fast AI grows, but how responsibly it does so. In New Delhi this week, the future of AI is not just being discussed, it is being shaped. Bureau Report, DD India.
Now, at the India AI Impact Summit, Sky Air Mobility unveiled the world's first end-to-end autonomous commerce delivery system in partnership with Arrive AI and Autonomy. The integrated system combines aerial drones, smart infrastructure, and ground robots, delivering packages directly to customers' doorstep without human intervention. DD India's Tapas Bhattacharya is with this report.
Of artificial intelligence, and this AI summit in Bharat Mandapam is making its presence felt. I just came here. This is the new place of Sky Air, where they have just got this UAV. What exactly you guys do?
So we are a drone delivery company, and we are utilizing autonomous drone delivery to deliver goods to everyone, every consumer, living now in Gurgaon, and now we are also live in Bangalore.
And were you guys doing it earlier, or is this just started now?
No, we started 2.5 years back, started doing real world deliveries, and we have done about 3.6 million deliveries so far in the last 2.5 years.
That's a huge number you're talking about. And what next? What is the new thing that you guys doing in this AI summit?
So there's an autonomous drone which is moving from a warehouse to the consumer apartment building or office complex, and then there is a pod which is created by Arrive AI, which is our partner from the US. And then there is a rover which is taking that package and going to the consumer and delivering it.
Tell us more about the partnership. It's a trilateral partnership.
For the drones to actually deliver something, you need to drop it somewhere. Now we can't drop it on the ground, right? So we build the smart units. We call it Arrive points. And the drones drop into that. And we partnered with Ritukar and team from Autonomy. And their robots pick it up from there, and that can deliver to you.
It looks like it's a sci-fi thing happening.
So what we are doing here is a multimodal delivery system where we have drones, we have Arrive pods, and we have Autobots, which are autonomy robots. So we are doing fully autonomous end-to-end deliveries, regardless whether it is coming from the ground or it is coming from the air. So we have been doing these autonomous deliveries in US and Europe already. So now we are plugging in the robot solution to the existing solution, what you saw, so that there is no human contact involved. And that is not taking away any specific human resources, but they are just doing more intelligent jobs, and we are doing the repeated tasks by robots and drones.
That's a huge thing, It's artificial intelligence, AI summit. One thought that we will see the future. Well, this is just the future that we may see in the next few years. With camera person Yogesh, this is Tapas Bhattacharya for GD India from Delhi.
President Draupadi Murmu on Monday inaugurated the centenary of the Old Chiki script organized by the Ministry of Culture in New Delhi. The President released a commemorative coin and postage stamp on the completion of 100 years of the Old Chiki. She felicitated 10 achievers from the Santal community for promoting wide use of the old Chiki script among the Santali people. The president said that India is like an orchard of many languages. Language and literature are the threads that uphold unity within the communities. The exchange of literature can enrich languages.
भारत देश अनेक भाषाओं का एक उद्यान जैसे ही है। भाषा और साहित्य एक डोर है जिसके सहारे समुदाय में एकता बनाकर रखी जा सकती है। विभिन्न भाषाओं के बीच साहित्यों के आदान प्रदान से भाषाएं समृद्ध हो सकती है। ये आदान प्रदान अनुवाद के माध्यम से हो सकता है। भारत में अनुवाद का एक जीवंत इतिहास है। संताली भाषा के विद्यार्थियों को अनुवाद के द्वारा अन्य भाषाओं के लेखन से परिचय कराने की आवश्यकता है। इसी प्रकार अनुवाद एवं लेखन कार्यों के माध्यम से संताली साहित्य को अन्य भाषाओं के विद्यार्थियों तक पहुंचाने का प्रयास किया जाना चाहिए।
In Bangladesh, newly elected members of parliament and cabinet ministers are set to be sworn in on Tuesday following the landslide victory in the national election. Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla, including other foreign dignitaries, will attend the swearing-in ceremony of the new government. Ministry of External Affairs said Speaker Birla will represent the Government of India at the ceremony, describing his participation as a reflection of the deep friendship between the two countries. Nepal's Foreign Minister Balananda Sharma has left for Dhaka, Bangladesh, to attend the oath-taking ceremony of the newly elected government in that country. According to the Foreign Ministry, Sharma's visit reflects Nepal's commitment to further strengthening bilateral relations between Nepal and Bangladesh. The Election Commission of Nepal has set a 15-day period for election campaigning for the House of Representatives election. It directs all stakeholders to fully comply with the Election Code of Conduct. According to the Commission, political parties and candidates are permitted to campaign from midnight of February 16 until the midnight of March the 2nd. The Commission has warned parties and candidates against obstructing voters' rights through intimidation, threats, coercion, harassment, bribery, or religious provocation. A delegation led by Kristalina Georgieva, the managing director of the International Monetary Fund, arrived in Sri Lanka on Monday for a 3-day visit to assess damage caused by Cyclone Ditwa. The team will tour affected areas in central Sri Lanka before holding talks in Colombo with President Anura Kumara Dissanayake, Prime Minister Harini Amarasuriya and Central Bank Governor Nandalal Veerasinghe. Discussions will focus on post-disaster recovery efforts and potential IMF support to boost economic resilience. And that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour. You can get the latest news on the DD India mobile app on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code to download it. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran from all of us here in New Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.